Hello YouTube, this is TJY Productions here. I'm going to do a quick little layout update here. I'll start at this end here and sort of work my way back. Right away you should be able to tell I have a new track that just went in earlier today, although the switch that I put it in with is not new. This switch you may recognize. It was the old switch that fell between my lead and this bottom pink track here. It's hiding behind those box cars there. It had the really weird frog setup. As it's not insulated. But I recently bought a Dremel tool, and if you don't own one, I recommend it. Bought these cutting blades, and they work really nice. They're thin, easy to use, and they cut rail like nothing. So I went back in and I actually cut, if it'll focus for me, I cut away the frog so the frog itself is isolated, and then I sort of sanded it back because you can see it's real messed up. I tried to cut it with pliers before, it didn't work out well, so I sanded it back, kind of smoothed it all out. It ain't perfect, but surprisingly it works really well, because power will run over it with no problem. So I secured it down. I put feeder wires in. Obviously, because of that isolated frog, it messes it up. I got feeder wires on this side of the switch and both tracks over here. And then I used the Dremel tool and I cut the edge of that track flush with the edge of the layout. So my Dremel tool just went straight through there, cut the ties, cut the rails, sanded them back, and then I used some of the soldering stuff, forget what it's called, and I put some globs here that act as little bumping posts, keep from running off the end. And I did the same thing, sort of, down at the end of this track, although I used the head of a foam pin to act as a little bumping post. As you can see from this angle a little bit better. See that silver nub sticking up? Hard to see from that angle. I also used the Dremel tool here. You can see these two grooves here. I guess there's three of them. Two here on either side and this one back here. I used that cutting blade and I sort of created a little bowl here. And it works as a handbrake essentially. So I roll a car into it and it's just enough to keep it from rolling out either way. But it's not enough to derail, so I can roll right across it, no problem. Locomotives, rail cars, you name it. But when I need it to act as stopping power, wheels will just sit right there. So I've done that on my siding, DP01, which is this track, with the gondola here, as well as North Plant 1 in two different spots. One right here, so the trucks sit just outside the building, and one in the back here where you can actually see this tank car setting. So I have a couple different places to spot there. It works really well. It just, like I said, it keeps the cars from moving because my layout kind of slopes down in towards the middle here. And it just holds them in place, and when you want to move them, just hook up to them pull them. I was using the foam pins and I'd stick them in the coupler there. And then to move it, I'd have to pull it out, then couple up to it, and I figured since I bought that Dremel tool, there must be another way. And there is. It works out really well. So that's another neat thing I've done. And you may also notice, in case you haven't, this Industry, which is new, I have this pipe that connects it to the ADM grain elevator. I'm using it sort of as a corn syrup processing or production facility. Hence the tank car back here, which I can also spot right here. Corn syrup gets made from the grain that comes from North Plant 2, and then some of it can get packaged to different products. Some of it will go out by truck, others by boxcar, which was a neat change. Originally, I had the boxcars go in through here, and to make that work, I had to put a small piece of styrene that came extra in the kit, similar to this one, underneath the building, because with the boxcars, the excess height boxcars, prior to raising it up just that smidge, it was a really snug fit. I'll show here now how that little change around the whole building made a difference. Find that spot here, right there. You can see that top of that boxcar is pretty snug. But if you look, it's about, if you put this on top of it, which is the difference from when I added that, there's almost no space there. So before I lifted it up that much, that's how much space the boxcars had. I'll show you a picture here when I find it. That's what it looks like before, and now after having raised it. I mean, you can just tell the difference right there, just by adding that little shim underneath the building, just some leftover plastic. I didn't raise the side building, I used more of that leftover plastic. And I built this loading door, and it worked out really well. I originally, when I built it, I just designed it for this to be level with the bottom of this standard height boxcar, and it is. But just by chance, I didn't measure anything out, it works out that the top of this door comes even with the top of this excess height boxcar, which was kind of a lucky coincidence. I didn't plan for that at all when I built the door. It just worked out really well that way. I had to modify the track a little bit and to suck this corner out really tight. You can kind of see from up here just how tight that curve really is. The reason I did that is I wanted this to be against straight rail, so it's not curving the boxcars around, because it'll suck in closer here and hit on the corners going out the boxcars. So this way both boxcars line up straight. Apparently like to derail, but they line up straight and even. For loading and unloading, I spot them with this one here, just that way the coupler over here is on straight rail. Allows for me to hook up to it easier. That's about it though. There isn't much new. I just, like I said, I love the way that new curve storage track looks. Gives me a little extra space. I thought about could use it, or where these engines are over here is extra industry space, but don't think it's quite necessary. Take you around the back side here. As I was saying earlier, this is where I put those grooves, because otherwise the tank car will run away on me. The box cars seemed to hold out really well when I had them staged over here, but for some reason the tank cars like to take off. So I put those little hand brakes, got some here, and like I said, the other side of that building so it can be spotted inside. This ADM track I haven't had any issues with. There's a natural joint up there on the other side from the switch. There's a short piece of track. That's kind of where I spot those. Back here, it's kind of tough to see. Just for kicks and giggles, I widened my Lego bridge, and I made it so the storage track will fit through there. I would love to connect it somehow, but I want room. I like having this room here. I can fit this whole train, or what's left of it. I'd love to put maybe 2 or 3 tracks back here, but it's hard when you build in a lead, say from here, and you're only left with shorter pieces, which makes it tough. But I'll figure something out. Not quite sure what yet, but it's coming along little by little. I think I forgot to mention the parking lot where I have my Swift truck up here. I took this stuff and I used some of those styrene strips to kind of lay out the parking lot the way I wanted it to go here. And took one of these things. I forget what they're called. But I leveled it out mostly, sanded it off once it dried, and painted it gray, going for that concrete look. Doesn't look too bad. I'm satisfied enough with it. I want to do the rest of it out and go across with a road crossing here for this guy or even this guy. These styrene pieces fit perfectly. I just want to glue them together and flush them all up. Kind of, I don't know, something like that. But that's how I did that. It looks pretty nice. Probably do another coat of paint or something, or maybe weather it a little. I don't know. Fine tip Sharpie and draw cracks in it. I don't know. Something like that. But that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you have any comments, put them in the comments. Works for me. I love hearing them. So thanks for watching, and hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, and hope you guys are having a Happy New Year. Hopefully 2016 was good for you. Hopefully 2017 goes even better. So bye.